Welcome back to the channel. Today we're heading to one of the UK's largest and most impressive zoological parks, that of Whipsnade Zoo in Bedfordshire. Operated by the Zoological Society of London, Whipsnade is not only a day out for animal lovers, but also a vast conservation centre with a global reputation. In this review I'll be taking you through the zoo's background, layout, key exhibits, animals, facilities, and of course my own impressions of what makes Whipsnade so special. Whipsnade Zoo, or more formally ZSL Whipsnade Zoo, first opened to the public in 1931. It was designed as a sister site to London Zoo, giving ZSL a much larger countryside space where big animals could thrive in open paddocks or more naturalistic habitats. The zoo covers around 600 acres, making it the largest zoo in the UK and one of the biggest in Europe. The sheer scale is one of its defining features. Unlike many zoos, which are compact and walkable in a couple of hours, Whipsnade feels more like a safari park combined with a traditional zoo. You'll find large grassy paddocks, wooded areas, rolling downs and sweeping views across the Chiltern Hills. Because of its size, Whipsnade has always been famous for its spacious enclosures. Elephants, rhinos and deer herds can be seen in landscapes that resemble natural reserves rather than cages. The sense of openness really sets it out apart from most UK zoo collections. ZSL itself is one of the oldest zoological organisations in the world. Founded in 1826, their mission combines conservation, education and research, and Whipsnade plays a central role, especially in breeding programmes for endangered species. So while it's a visitor attraction, it's also a scientific and conservation hub. Whipsnade is located near Dunstable in Bedfordshire, about 35 miles north of London. For most visitors, the main approach is by car. There's a large car park on site, but uniquely Whipsnade allows visitors to actually drive into the zoo for an extra fee. You can literally take your car around the internal roads, park near exhibits, and use it as a base during your visit. For families with children and those who find walking long distance difficult, that is a huge plus. On arrival, you'll pass through the ticket gates and almost immediately notice how expansive the zoo is. Unlike urban zoos, with paths crisscrossing tight clusters of enclosures, Whipsnade has long avenues, wide grassy areas, and the atmosphere of a parkland estate. The famous Whipsnade chalk lions, carved into the nearby hillside in the 1930s, remind you of the site's heritage and makes for a unique landmark from one visible for miles around. Because of its size, Whipsnade is divided into theme zones and large paddocks. Some highlights include Base Camp Central Hub near the entrance. This area has cafes, shops and some smaller enclosures. It's where most visitors start and finish their journey. Passage through Asia, a large drive-through or walk-through paddock where herds of deers, camels and yak roam freely. It feels more like a safari experience without leaving Bedfordshire. African selection, featuring giraffes, zebras, antelope, hippos and African wild dogs set in wide open fields. Elephant herd. Whipsnade is home to one of the largest Asian elephant herds in the UK, with multi-generational family groups. Big cats, lions, tigers and cheetahs in large landscape enclosures. European section, wolves, lynx, wolverines and other native species and species native to Europe. Aquarium and butterfly house, indoor area offering variety, particularly good for rainy days. Birds display in aviaries. Whipsnade has several aviaries and often have free-flying bird demonstrations. The internal road system and footpaths give you different options. If you're walking the whole site, it takes most of the day, easily clocking up more than 10 miles. For younger families, the car pass or the internal bus is a lifesaver. There's also a miniature railway, the Jumbo Express, which loops around the zoo, giving you a relaxed ride with views of the paddocks. Let's go through some of the standout areas in a bit more detail. The Asian elephants. One of Whipsnade's flagship exhibits is the Asian elephant herd. Unlike smaller city zoos where elephants may be kept in smaller groups or older facilities, Whipsnade gives them extensive outdoor paddocks and modern barns. The herd includes multiple generations You can often see mothers, calves and aunties interacting, which is a real highlight. ZSL has long been involved in the Asian elephant conservation, and Whipsnade plays a vital role into research into herd dynamics and breeding. Watching the elephants here feels less like observing isolated animals and more like witnessing the social structure of a family group. The passage through Asia. This is another unique element. In your own car, or sometimes even on foot, you can traverse the vast paddock containing Bactrian camels, deer, yak and other Asian hoof stock. There are no barriers between you and the animals beyond the car itself. You really feel immersed in the environment. It is reminiscent of safari parks, but with a quieter, more naturalistic feel. Lions and tigers. Whipsnade is home to African lions and Amur tigers. The lion enclosures offer open grassy areas with rocky outcrops, while the tiger habitat is a wooded environment designed to mimic their natural forested range. Both enclosures provide ample space and good viewing opportunities. Seeing these apex predators in a relatively natural surrounding is always a powerful experience. Cheetahs. Unlike many other zoos where cheetahs are rarely active, Whipsnade's cheetah habitat gives them a chance to sprint and display natural behaviours. Their sleek design and speed always makes them a visitor favourite. White rhinos. Another highlight is the crash of southern white rhinoceroses. Whipsnade has a spacious paddock for them, and it's common to see these giants grazing peacefully in the open fields. Their conservation story is emphasised, highlighting how zoos play a role in keeping assurance populations. Hippos and giraffes. The hippo lake is another popular stop where you might see them wallowing or grazing near the water's edge. Nearby, the giraffe's house provides close encounters with these tall animals, including a raised viewing platform that lets you see them at eye level. European wildlife. In contrast to the exotic megafauna, Whipsnade also showcases European species. Wolves, lynx, wolverines and bison remind visitors that conservation isn't just about far-flung rainforests, it's about rewilding and protecting species closer to home. Smaller exhibits. The aquarium, butterfly house and reptile house add diversity. They may not be as expansive as the outdoor products, but they provide balance and interest, especially if the weather turns. Conservation. ZSL mission runs through everything at Whipsnade. You'll find information boards, talks and interactive displays explaining conservation projects. Species like the scimitar horned oryx, once extinct in the wild, are part of a breeding and reintroduction programme coordinated with international partners. Whipsnade also participates in European Endangered Species Programmes, EEPs, exchanging islands with other zoos to maintain healthy populations. The focus is always on long-term sustainability, not just display. Education is another key strand. School trips are frequent with dedicated classrooms and educational tours. For the general visitor, the keeper talk brings the animals to life, sharing both fun facts and conservation messages. A zoo this large needs good visitor infrastructure, and Whipsnade generally delivers. There are cafes, kiosks spread throughout the site, offering everything from sandwiches to hot meals. The main restaurant near the entrance serves as a central refuelling point. Picnic areas are plentiful. Many visitors bring their own food, making a day of it without extra cost. Toilets are spread across the site, which is essential given the distances involved. Shops sell souvenirs, plush toys and conservation-themed gifts, with proceeds supporting ZSL's work. Accessibility is considered, but the vast size means mobility scooters or the car option are recommended for those with limited walking ability. So what's it actually like spending a day at Whipsnade Zoo? The first thing most people notice is how vast and open it feels. Unlike many zoos, where you're moving from enclosure to enclosure every few minutes, here you find yourself strolling along open roads with long views across fields and hills. That gives the animals space, but it also gives you time to absorb the atmosphere and appreciate the landscape. There is something refreshing about watching animals in a large grassy paddock rather than confined pens. Seeing a herd of deer stretch across the horizon, or rhinos grazing in a field that looks more like an African plain than a zoo enclosure, is genuinely impressive. It's one of the few zoos that you feel you've stepped into a different world, rather than a theme park style attraction. The flip side is that Whipsnade requires more walking and planning. Families with young children often comment on the distances between exhibits. It's true you won't see everything in a short afternoon. To get the most out of the day, it's worth checking the map ahead of time. deciding on a rough route and making use of the train or car pass if you think the distances will be too much. That said, the sense of space and tranquility is a big part of Whipsnade's charm. It never feels overcrowded, even on busy summer days, because visitors spread out naturally across the site. That's something you rarely get in smaller zoos, where viewing windows are packed and the queues build up for the most popular animals. The strengths of Whipsnade. Let's break down some of those clear strengths. Sheer size and space. Animals have room to roam. The visitors enjoy an almost safari-like experience in parts of the zoo, and it feels more authentic and naturalistic. Variety of species. From elephants to rhinos to wolves and wolverines. There's a balance between exotic megafauna and the unusual European wildlife. Conservation role. Whipsnade isn't just for show. It actually contributes to a global breeding and reintroduction program, which adds depth and meaning to a visit. Unique features. The passage to Asia, the miniature railway, the hillside white lion make the zoo stand out from others in the UK. Family options. The ability to drive your car inside, plus the internal bus and train, give flexibility that other zoos don't always offer. Challenges and weakness. But to give a balanced view, we need to acknowledge the areas where Whipsnade can be challenging. Distances and walking. For some visitors the scale is simply too much. Without a car pass or train ticket, it can become tiring, especially for families with young children. Weather dependence. Being so open, Whipsnade isn't ideal on wet, windy or very hot days. There are indoor areas like the aquarium at Butterfield House, but most of the experience is outdoors. Food and drink prices. Like many major attractions, the cafes can be pricey. Bringing a picnic is a popular choice and can often be more relaxing. However, I will say that the food I had on my visit was actually very good quality. Animal visibility. With such large paddocks, animals can sometimes disappear into the distance, which is positive for welfare, but it means you're not guaranteed close-up views, although I did get pretty much excellent views of all the animals on my visit. Accessibility. There are provisions, but the Syria terrain can be challenging. The car option helps, but it does come at an additional cost, which at the time of filming was £30. None of these points are deal breakers, but they're worth considering so visitors can plan ahead and get the best from the day. One of Whipsnade's real strengths is its atmosphere. The location in the Chiltern Hills gives it sweeping views of the surrounding countryside, which add to the sense of openness. On a clear day, the scenery itself is almost impressive as the animals. The enclosures blend into the landscape better than many other zoos, with grassy fields, hedgerows and natural planting. There's less concrete and more greenery, which makes it feel closer to wildlife than traditional city zoos. That approach helps frame the animals in a way that feels more respectful and expansive rather than confined. Who will enjoy Whipsnade? Whipsnade suits a wide range of visitors, but especially appeals to families who want a full day out. There's plenty to fill an entire day, or even two. And kids often love the train ride and the chance to see large animals up close. Animal enthusiasts. If you're interested in conservation of rare species and seeing animals with space to behave naturally, Whipsnade is one of the best in the country. Photographers. The wide enclosures, natural backdrop and open views make it a fantastic spot for photography, especially for hoofstock and large mammals. Those seeking a quieter zoo experience. Because it's so large and spread out, Whipsnade rarely feels as hectic as the urban collections. It might be less suited to those wanting a quick compact day, where you can see everything in a couple of hours, or those who have a dislike of long walks. So how does Whipsnade stack up as a destination? For me, it's one of the most impressive animal collections in the UK, not because it crams the rarest species into the smaller space, but because it does the opposite. It prioritises space, atmosphere, and a sense of authenticity. If you don't just tick animals off your list, you immerse yourself in a landscape where conservation and animal welfare are at the forefront. It's not always the easiest zoo for casual visitors who do need to plan, and you likely walk a fair distance even bringing your car in, but the rewards are more than worth it. Seeing elephants in a proper family herd, watching rhinos grazing on the hillside, or taking the miniature train past open paddocks creates memories that stick. The zoo balances education, conservation and entertainment in a way that few others achieve at this scale. In short, if you're looking for one of the UK's premier wildlife experiences, Whipsnade is hard to beat. It's a full day adventure with a unique character. It has a place that showcases not animals, but the bigger picture of how zoos can support global conservation. That wraps up my review of Whipsnade Zoo. I hope you have found this breakdown useful, whether you're planning a trip yourself or simply interested in how this famous zoo operates. If you've been to Whipsnade before, let me know in the comments what's your favourite part. Maybe it was the elements, or the passage through Asia, or even the train ride. And if you enjoy these long form zoo and park reviews, don't forget to like, subscribe and join me again for the next adventure. Thanks for watching, I'll see you soon, and I'll remain with you to enjoy the remaining footage of the animal.
On that big rock up ahead.
Yeah.
Careful.